Yo, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Two-Man Game with me, Cone, here with Ryan. How are you doing, Ryan?
Not too bad, man. I've really been getting into running recently. I don't know if I've mentioned it on here before, but my calves, man, they're hurting. Like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know why people run. Well, actually, I do know why because I've actually been kind of enjoying it because beforehand I was
Mm-hmm.
like, running is so stupid and I don't know why anyone would do it. I don't understand this runner's high thing. But honestly, since I'm picking, like, I'm not crazy. Like, don't get me wrong. I only do like 2 to 3 miles usually a day, if that. But like, I don't know, man. I've been enjoying it and having a good time. But my calves are burning. Let me tell you,
I
man.
feel like 2-3 miles is not that bad at all. Like, I feel like that's a decent bit.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not terrible, but I don't know.
I
I'm
guess it's
friends with
not
a lot
like
of
the,
people.
the crazy, like,
Yeah,
6-7 mile type of running that some people do.
yeah. I'm friends with a lot of people that do like crazy, crazy runs. Like I have a boy named Rex. Like he's definitely not watching this because he doesn't know anything about hoops. But this dude runs like 6 or 7 miles a day, like barefoot.
Barefoot?
Oh yeah.
That's crazy. Like I've also kind of been doing a little bit of running. I got an Apple Watch recently, which motivates me a bit to do running. I play basketball like 3-4 times a week, but if I'm not out hooping, if I can't get people to come play, then I'll just go run for a little bit. And I'll usually do like 2.5 miles just around my block kind of. I'm in New York City for those of you that don't know here on the podcast. So I'll just kind of do a loop. There's a park pretty close to me that I'll run through. But I know what you're talking about. Like my Achilles in particular, like my left one after I run for a while is like burning, which that never happens with basketball. Like I'll play basketball for 3 hours and it'll be perfectly fine. And then I'll run for like 2.5 miles and it'll be on fire. So I don't know what's the difference with that. Maybe it's like the elevation change because I'm going like up and downhill.
There could be that. It also could just be the fact that with basketball, it's like even though you're running a lot, it is like stop and go.
Mm,
Whereas like the other kind of running, like when you're just going nonstop, it's just that
consistently,
constant
yeah.
pressure. I think that's what it could be because I'm the same way. I've never really had any kind of leg issues from like other kind of cardio, but nah, man,
Mm.
like it's not that bad. But like when I was running yesterday, especially, like I was getting to the point where I was like, dang, man, it's not even my cardio holding me back. It's like my freaking left ankle. I'm like, what is
Mm.
going on, man?
Yeah, yesterday during hoops, and this is like every time when I don't drink enough water, I cramp a lot if I don't keep myself hydrated when I hoop. So I was out there for like 3 hours, and like my left like thigh kind of area, calf. I can't remember which one. I think it's calf, but I get cramps in like that area on both my legs, and it was like really bad. Like it's still kind of sore today. Like I got that kind of cramp from that, which is weird because typically I'll get bad cramps, but they feel fine the next day, unless there's those times where I have this happen a lot after I hoop for a while. I will wake up to a cramp, which is like the worst thing ever. If you've ever had that happen to you, it's like the worst way to wake up,
Sounds
just in
sounds
like
like a nightmare.
excruciating
Like
pain.
it sounds like a nightmare in person type of deal.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It feels like that sleep paralysis thing. Like I wake up and I'm just like immediately in a nightmare type of scenario. But I've also been doing a bit of running, hooped both the past couple of nights, which is a lot of fun to go out there and do. So we've been keeping active here on the Two-Man Game. Hope y'all have as well. Real quick, while we're at the beginning of the podcast, I keep trying to remember to do this. Please leave a like on the podcast. It helps a ton, whether you're on audio platforms, rate us 5 stars, pre-download the podcast. That stuff all really helps us get recommended to other people. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're going to be dropping videos about a variety of different things coming up here soon. So definitely make sure to look out for that. I think we talked about doing like a point guard tier list or like positional stuff. We want to do some other fun games like ranking random role player type guys, whether that's through a tier list or just doing like a 1 through 5 thing. Some trivia where we give each other trivia questions. We talked about maybe doing like we like think of a random player and just give each other stats and clues, and we've got to try and guess and see who wins, stuff like that. So just random games. So if you want to see anything like that, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And also, as always, go ahead and comment down below any questions you have for us for future episodes or any type of videos you want to see like that.
Another thing too that I've seen, and I think I brought this up to you before. If anyone here watches John Boy Media's baseball content, which I watch a lot of because I'm a huge baseball fan, they do this show every week called Ref Guess, where you show a random baseball reference page, and it has is like the stats and the teams and the position. You have to guess, who the player is, and it's like an easy, medium, hard. I feel like that'd be really fun too. Just show like empty basketball reference pages, and you got to see if you can just look at the stats and like the accolades and the teams. I'm like, oh yeah, that's so and so, or oh yeah, that's so and so. I think that'd be kind of cool too.
Yeah, so things like that. We want to do more of that content here on the channel to kind of keep you up to date with us, just keep giving you content when we're not dropping podcast episodes, especially during the off season when there's not a lot of news, rumors to really talk about. And yeah, that's kind of a quick breakdown of what's going on with us, just to keep you updated.
You can only really talk about how much James Harden wants to go to the Clippers and how much Dame wants to go to Miami for so much time, and then
I can't do another episode about that. I can't do it.
Dude,
maybe we'll see another.
You could do 3 videos a week of like Dame requested Miami again. Dame posted on Instagram in Miami again, and just like
Dame's agent said, "Don't trade for him. He wants to be in Miami." Like
the Blazers don't want Tyler Hero, so a third team is just like so repetitive.
Yeah, just that stuff over and over again. It really is like once Summer League wraps for the next month or so, unless a trade happens, this is the dead period of the NBA offseason. Like there's literally nothing going on until we get closer to training camp.
There is one kind of funny thing we can talk about real quick before we get into like what our episode's mainly about. We should, if you haven't seen the Draymond Green NBA Central fake page stuff, it's pretty hilarious. Connor, you want to tell them about it?
Yeah, so Draymond got tricked by one of the fake. Well, first of all, he goes on Pat Bev's podcast, talks about the Jordan Poole situation, which is another thing that I'm completely over, and basically said, like, I don't hit people for no reason. Like, there's certain things you don't say between men, when he's been known for hitting people. Like, he kicked Steven Adams in the lower area. He stomped on Sabonis. Like,
dude, maybe they just all said the same thing, and it's just like a trigger.
Maybe he kind of punched LeBron also in under area, but LeBron also kind of stepped over him, so it's like a weird.
They're also lovers
there.
You can only take that for so much.
That's true. They're best friends, but yeah, I'm just completely over it. I don't really care at this point. But people are, of course, talking about it, and there was this fake NBA Central account. I think it was like NBA Centel.
And they've been posting a lot this summer too, and it's sad because they got suspended for this.
I think they were following me. I followed them back for some reason. It was some like normal NBA Twitter account that transferred into this like one of those fake reporting accounts that are all over the timeline now. But yeah, they'd kind of been building momentum. They were becoming a big fake news aggregator, and they put out a quote. It was from Kevin Garnett, saying that he was basically saying that Draymond Green like wouldn't try that on him or something like that if he was in Jordan Poole scenario. And then Draymond quote tweets that with a story saying like basically saying he punked Kevin Garnett in like his rookie season and KG wouldn't talk smack back to him. He was basically talking trash to Kevin Garnett over this fake quote that was never real. And Kevin Garnett was like, hey, man, like this is a fake quote. Like Twitter, you need to do something about these fake accounts. I was very impressed. Kevin Garnett took like the high road. It would have been wild if this fake NBA Central account started this like long running online
beef between Hall of Famers.
Yeah, between all-time defensive Hall of Famers. But thankfully, Kevin Garnett didn't look into it too much. He was like, okay, let's just diffuse the situation. So that was a big thing. The account got banned. But yeah, it's just another example of someone getting fooled. Kevin Durant was also chiming in, like, I think he just tweeted randomly. He's like, y'all got to look out for those fake account kind of thing. KD's always active on Twitter.
He's been going crazy on Twitter, man. I have his notifications on, and it's so funny. I'll be at work and I have my Apple Watch on, so I get all the tweets, and it'll just say Kevin Durant tweeted, and I can tell he's talking to fans on the timeline because it's just the most like colloquial stuff ever. He's just like talking with random strangers. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Like seeing like having an NBA player, and this I feel like is something that's really popped up recently. Like not just with Kevin Durant. There was a Pelicans like fan space group that typically does spaces for Pelicans fans. And they got, I think it was Trey Murphy, Larry Nance, and CJ McCollum to join. The three of them were on there. Kevin Durant will join Twitter spaces. He's always on the app, or he's willing to talk with people like you were talking about. I know there was that one Thunder account that tweeted about a Josh Giddey jersey that he got 2 of by accident. And he was like, who wants it? And Josh Giddey commented under it. He's like, I want it, kind of thing. So it's cool to see players like interacting with fans and stuff like that, which is one of the cool parts about social media. There's a lot of not great stuff, but this is at least one of the best parts. So yeah, Draymond Green was involved in that whole thing today with Kevin Garnett, who, by the way, was talking with Chet Holmgren, and they talked about getting in the gym together, which is music to my ears as a Thunder fan. But yeah, that's kind of your quick drama update for the day. Yeah. And
that is all for today's episode of NBA Drama Alert. I'm your host, Ryan, with 3 Cone, and we'll see you next time. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we're going to turn into an NBA drama podcast over the course of this offseason. We'll just cover random beefs, which honestly, that might be kind of fun.
Yeah, low key though. If
Not like weird drama, but like
yeah.
player beefs or just like reflecting on like histories of stuff. That might be kind of interesting.
Oh, that should be an episode. We should have everyone comment their favorite NBA player beef of all time, and we'll just go through all of them. We'll like pull up like old like archive articles and videos. That'd be fun.
That would be fun. That
All right,
might
that's an off-season episode right there. That's what we're gonna do.
There we go. We should also do some like live podcast episodes at some point. That would probably be pretty fun. We live stream it on here. Like I can also, maybe I could like simultaneously live stream it on my channel kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
We should do something like that.
Yeah. Also,
anyways,
to boost the algorithm, before we get into our big thing, comment your favorite NBA player beef below. And yeah, let us know who you want us to talk about that used to tussle back in the day. So let us know.
There you go. I think it would also be fun if we did an episode like thinking back on just random players that we liked a lot, like just random names that come to mind kind of thing. Or like we do like I'm trying to think of like what the term would be, like a career breakdown or like a deep dive, just like a throwback kind of thing. Maybe do like a throwback Thursday type of episode where we look at some old great players and stuff like that. I don't know, just some ideas for potential.
I know I keep talking about the John Boy people, but I really love what they do. But one of the guys that like who also just followed me back on Twitter, by the way, Jolly Olive. Jolly Olive, he's one of their big creators, and every couple weeks he'll do a whole like 20-minute long video about a random like not Hall of Fame player, but like someone who might have been like a single-time All-Star or like was really good back in like the early 2000s, and just like go over their career. And it's pretty cool because that's when I was like growing up watching baseball. So I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that guy, and I'm like, dang, he was really good. Even though like he's on the Hall of Fame or people don't talk about them or they're not like one of the team's all-time greats and that kind of stuff. So that I think that stuff's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean that's stuff that I do in the off season sometimes. Like last year, I did a couple of videos about some random players. I'm working on an Isaiah Thomas, like his 2015-16 season or 2016-17 season with the Celtics, where he finished top 5 in MVP voting. So I'm gonna drop like something like that. So looking back on seasons like that could be cool. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into our big topic for the episode. We're going to take a look at some NBA over-unders. So we've got this total win projections thing coming from DraftKings Sportsbook.
Who doesn't sponsor us, so don't go get their app. They don't sponsor us. Don't get their app.
Yeah, don't do it until they sponsor us. I mean, not an unnamed sportsbook has given us these win total. Yeah, the way I said that really sounded like a
use code 2Man Game for $100 on your first deposit.
Don't do that yet. Give us more time. We'll get that sponsorship eventually. Yeah. But yeah, over-unders for NBA team wins this season. We don't have all the teams because they haven't put some of them out there because there's big trades still to potentially be made. So we've got 24 teams. We're going to basically give our quick thoughts on over or under if we think that's just about right. The teams that aren't included are the Sixers, the Heat, the Blazers, the Rockets, the Clippers, and the Nets. Sixers, Heat, Blazers, Clippers, and Nets all make sense because those are teams involved with like the Damian Lillard stuff or the James Harden stuff. Maybe the Nets are like a third team involved with Tyler Hero. So it makes sense with those. We don't know why the Rockets aren't on there. That's kind of confusing. But yeah, so if we don't talk about one of those teams, if one of those is your favorite team, sorry, we'll talk about that as we get closer to the season when we'll do like full season breakdowns and predictions and stuff like that. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and just go through this and talk about some of these win total projections. I guess we can kind of start towards the bottom.
Let's start from the bottom. Let's start from the bottom.
Let's start from the bottom. Their lowest projection out of the 24 teams that we have are the Wizards at 24.5 wins. Are you going over or under on that?
Over, but not by much. I think they're like a high 20s win team. I think 20. They still have Kyle Kuzma who can get you some buckets. Poole can get you some buckets. They have a couple veteran players. I think 24.5 is pretty freaking low. I could see them being like a 26 or 27 win team. So I'm going to hit the over.
Yeah, it's low. I mean, I could see them being a bit lower just purely because the NBA is really good right now. And
who had the lowest win total for this past season? So we can kind of
Pistons. So they went 17-65, I believe.
The Pistons only won 17 games?
Yeah, they won 17
games.
No
way. I didn't realize it was that way.
Yeah, they won 17 games. Right?
I knew they were bad, but I didn't think they were that bad.
No, it was rough. No Cade like the entire season. They went 17-6 and they fell to the 5th pick.
Okay. Well, here's the thing though. Now that I'm looking at it, no other team won. Like the Rockets and the Spurs were at like 22, but then after that it was like the Hornets were 27 and everyone else was above 30. So I don't know. I think 24.5 is kind of low. And the Wizards, I think, unless there's like an injury to Kuzma or Poole.
Yeah. I mean, with the Pistons, it was like Cade out the entire season.
Yeah.
So
I'm going over with the Wizards.
I think I'm going to go under, but it'll be like exactly 24. I think like 24-25 is kind of what I'm thinking for them. Maybe it might be a little bit more. The only reason I'm going under is because the NBA is really good right now. Like there are no teams outside of the Blazers who are going to trade Dame that are going to be like purposefully tanking, it feels like, this upcoming season. So I think the Wizards are going to kind of fill that vacuum and win like kind of mid-20s games. I think you're right. I think we could see like a 26-27. So to me, 24.5 is about right. I guess I'll go a bit higher. I'll go 25. So I'll say like just barely over.
Yeah, I'm thinking like 26 or 27 wins. I don't think much more than that.
Like I'm not saying Kuzma can get him some wins. Yeah. Tyus Jones is a good point guard. They've still got some good players. They're not absolutely awful, but I mean, I guess they're probably going to be the worst team in the league this season, outside of maybe like the Blazers, which we'll see. So
but I think Kuzma and Poole could both average up to close to like 23, 24 points per game next year. Yeah. So when you have two of those scores, you're going to win some games.
Yeah, they'll win a few. They've got some guys that can pop off. So, and some interesting young players too. Like they've still got some decent role players that I think could help them get a couple of wins here and there. Plus, like, I guess another reason why maybe is because they don't have an incentive to just full out tank to beat another team, because they probably will be one of the worst. They probably will be the worst team in the East this season, I feel like. So it's not like they're going to have to try hard to lose these games. So, yeah. I'm going to go with about 25. Next team that we've got are the Pistons, down there at 27.5. I think I'm going to go over on this. I think adding Cade to the equation will get them some wins. They'll have a second-year Jalen Duren out there. He was really good in his rookie campaign. You've got another year of Jaden Ivey. I think Asar Thompson's going to be a good fit. They've got Monty Williams now. Like they're seemingly making an active effort to win more games. Now, I don't think it's going to be much more than this. I think it's low 30s if I've got to project their wins. But to me, 27.5 feels low.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna hit them with the over 2, just like I did with the Wizards, but not by much. Like I'm with you. I think they're gonna be a low 30s win team, if that. Like maybe like 20, 29, 30, 31, like somewhere in that range. Yeah,
it's so hard because it feels crazy for them to jump like 13 wins, but you have to keep in mind that Cade didn't play the entire season. And if, it might take him a little bit of time to get back to the player that we think he can be, but I think eventually Cade will kind of really figure things out. I like the talent over there in the roster. I just think they're a bit too young to make like a play-in jump like some people have talked about for this upcoming season for them. So yeah, I think around 30-ish wins. They've got the Spurs at 30.5. I'm surprised they have them at more than the Pistons because they were also bad, but they added Vic, who's going to make a difference. To me, 30.5 kind of feels right. It feels like they're going to be right around that range. I kind of like a 31, 32, I think, for them.
Because I do think Vic's they're in the low 30s last year, right?
They were, I think it was like
22. Oh, gosh. Yeah. Okay, never mind. 22.
Yeah. So, but they had injuries to like Vassell missed time. Keldon Johnson missed some time as well. They were actively tanking. Like they've got Vic now, another year of Sohan. They've got Greg Popovich there. So I feel like low 30s, like a 31 kind of feels right for them.
Yeah, I'll hit them with the over. But like I said, it's funny because I've hit 3 overs in a row, but I'm not like none of these. There's a team coming up that I'm going to take like over by like maybe 5 or 6 wins, but this is another one that's just like they'll probably win like 1 or 2 more games than that.
Yeah, it's so tough because you can't like pick over on all these teams. Like somebody's going to underperform because of the way the NBA works. Someone's going to overperform, which is going to cause teams to underperform. So it's hard to really say. And I mean, most of these, even though we're going over, like it feels like it's right around that range. There's a reason they've picked these odds because Vegas knows what they're talking about. We've got the Hornets at 31.5. I think I might go under. I mean, I guess the problem is the LaMelo Ball's health is weird. Like we don't know if he's actually going to be healthy this upcoming season.
Is he supposed to be ready to start the year?
He's supposed to be ready to start the year, but they've got veterans like Rozier still there somehow. Hayward's still there.
I still don't know why they don't trade them.
I thought they would have by now. I mean, I guess technically they should probably go over like Miles Bridges, despite all the other stuff going on with him. He's a good basketball player, so he'll probably help them out too. So I guess maybe an over again. It feels wrong picking another over, but like
I don't know. I mean, I kind of rock with their starting lineup though of LaMelo, Rozier, Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, and
knowing them, they're going to start Hayward.
You think Brandon Miller comes off the bench?
I think they'll probably bring him off the bench. I mean, they could also start like you could also start PJ Washington if he stays. We don't know if he's going to be there.
That's not a bad little. I'm taking over. I actually kind of like that. I kind of rock with that. That could be fun.
It's definitely not bad. It's just weird. Like the injuries are there. It's a weird mix of vets and rookies.
Well, how many?
I think you're right.
How many wins did they get in 2021? Because this roster is basically their 2021 roster plus Brandon Miller.
Yeah, and Mark Williams now.
And they won 43 games that year. So I'm going to take the over then. I'm taking the over.
Yeah, I think the NBA, the Eastern Conference is better than it was then.
Yeah.
Plus, Bridges having a full year off and the veterans being weird. I think I think I'm going to take a close over. I think I'd go with like 33, 34 wins for the Hornets. So, yeah, it's right about there. The Utah Jazz are at 34.5.
Now, I think this is going to be my first under I take.
You're going to take under on this?
I do. I think Lauri, he's a great player, but I don't think he's going to do as well. I think he could still have a good year, but I don't think he's going to be as good. They don't have the great. I know they have some young guys that they just drafted, but their playmaking is kind of iffy because they won't have any Mike Conley for the whole year. So you're running the point through Clarkson and Sexton.
Yeah, that's like kind of their lead guards. Oh, Keontae George will also.
That's what I'm saying, but it's a rookie point guard. So I mean, and he did look good in the summer league, but it's a whole different animal when you get into the normal games. So I think they'll have some fun, but I don't think they're better than some of these other teams that we've been talking about. I think they slightly overachieved last year, and then they set themselves to get up better in the long term. But I don't think they're not going to be any better this year. I don't think so. I'm going to go lower.
I see what you're saying. I do think the Jazz didn't get a ton better this offseason. Like, I think Keontae George is going to help. But like you said, they don't have like a veteran playmaker on the roster. It's a lot of really young guys. I think Lowry could have a pretty similar season to last year, but I think they finished with 37 wins this past year, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So I think a lot of other Western Conference teams got better. I think I'm also going to go under, but it's going to be like 34, almost exactly.
I could see the Jazz kind of pulling what the Spurs did last year because, the Spurs were like, they weren't a good team, but like you were saying, like, how like Vassell and Keldon Johnson and Jeremy, like a lot of those guys just kind of sat. They were listed as hurt, but I mean, it was tanking for Vic. If you stepped on something the wrong way, you were going to sit out. So that way you could potentially lose a game. So I can see the Jazz going down that route. Honestly, they don't start off very well because I feel like if you add like a top 3 pick next year for them with their young core and all their assets, then they're perfectly set up to get right back into where they want to be. So I think they're one of those teams that could kind of fall off a cliff if they sense that they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, I could see that. I agree. I think the Jazz are probably like right under. Next team's the Pacers at 35.5.
Big over. Up. I'm taking all the Pacers stonks. All of them.
I think the Pacers are a pretty solid over. I think this team could be really solid this year.
You have an all-star
Tyrese is great.
All-star point guard, all defensive center. You have the glue guy, Bruce Brown. I mean,
Obi Toppin's there now.
Yep.
He could have a breakout season. No, I love this Pacers team a lot. I think this is a team that could be poised for a jump this season. If later on, we're going to talk about some teams that we could see taking jumps, which we're kind of already through this. But yeah, the Pacers are one of those teams I think could take a leap. They've got an all-star on the roster, found some really fun young talent that's also good already with like Andrew Nembhard, Benedict Mathurin. Obi Toppin has been really good when he's been given more leash.
Good for them last year.
Yeah, Aaron Nesmith was solid. Like he finally kind of found a spot. Jordan Nwora was pretty good when he ended up over there in Indiana towards the second half of the season. Isaiah Jackson's fun as a big two. Like they've got a lot of players I really like.
TJ McConnell, man. That dude can hoop.
They do still have TJ McConnell, Sixers legend. So, yeah, I'm also going to go over on the Pacers. I think they're in a good spot. The Magic at 35.5. This is a team I know a lot of people are picking to take a bit of a jump this season. Paolo is Rookie of the Year. Franz is really good, pretty underrated. They've got a good crop of guards, even if it's a lot of them. What are you going with the Magic?
I feel like they have to get better eventually because they just keep getting all these high draft picks. Like you can't be awful forever, and that's kind of how we were talking about with the Pistons earlier too. Like eventually, Cade's gonna play and they're gonna get better. But with the Magic,
Cade.
No, I'll say kind of like we were talking about with the Pistons.
Oh yeah, my brain kind of glitched for a second.
Because
I heard Cade.
They have so many, like their whole roster is like top picks of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Because you can only be so bad with getting so many top picks on your roster for so long, when you got to eventually just start winning. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm kind of with the Magic. It's like last year they won 34, and have they? I mean, other than their young players getting better, have they really done anything?
They added Joe Ingles to the equation, which is still one of the weirdest signings of the entire offseason.
They kind of gave him a bag, though.
Oh, they gave him a bag. If I was Joe Ingles, I would totally take that bag to go to Orlando.
And then get traded to a contender at the trade deadline.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way to do it. Get a bag from a rebuilding team, get flipped. But yeah, the Magic for me, I don't know if they're going to be a playing team like some people are picking them to be. I think they're around that range. but it might be a year too early. My big thing with them is they've got no shooting at all. Like it's non-existent. Paolo had that 1 month where he shot like 8% from three. It was horrific. Franz is an above average shooter. Wendell Carter can knock down some shots. Like they've got some guys who can hit shots. And I do think Paolo's jumper is going to come along eventually. But most of the guys on the roster are really inconsistent. Markel Fultz can't really shoot still. Jalen Suggs has never been a great outside shooter or just great scorer in general.
Black's not a shooter, isn't
Anthony Black, no, he's not a shooter at all. So they just don't have a lot of shooting on this roster, which I think hurts them. I think they could be pretty good defensively. I can buy into that as an identity for them, but they even showed that a good bit last season.
Oh yeah.
I worry about the spacing overall in terms of them trying to take a jump. There are a lot of people picking them to be the team that takes a big leap this season. I just think they need a bit more spacing and have to figure out some of these log jams, specifically at the guard position, before they take that leap. But I am going to go over a little bit. I think they could end up a little bit under 40 wins, which I think is a range we're going to see a lot of teams at this season because there's so much talent in the league right now.
Yeah, I'll take the over, but just by like 1 or 2 wins, probably not by much. I don't have them as a playing team. I think I see the Pacers probably making a jump before they do.
I agree. I think I like the Pacers a little bit more.
Who do you like better this season, the Pistons or the Magic for win total? Actually, I'm going to lump them all together. Magic, Hornets, Pistons. Who wins the most games? Who wins the least games?
Magic win the most games. Pistons win the least games. Hornets in the middle.
I'm going to say Hornets win the most games just because I'm kind of, like I said, they won 40-ish games when they had like that whole roster. Like when they had Miles Bridges, LaMelo healthy, PJ. So if PJ comes back and they kind of run it back, I could see them, I don't know. I could see
it. Being decent.
Yeah.
I could see it.
Like one of those teams where it's like they're good enough to compete, but not good enough to do well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's helpful. Like it helps when you have an all-star type of player. Like the Hornets do. They've got LaMelo. The Pacers have Tyrese. I think Paolo's going to be an all-star sooner than later for the Magic. I think Cade could be that guy for the Pistons, but he hasn't quite reached that level quite yet. So I think that's why the Pistons are lagging a little bit behind at the moment. Maybe Cade comes out and plays like that this season. We just haven't seen it yet from him. So we got Raptors, 37.5 wins. I'm taking this under for sure.
I'm taking the under too because I feel like one, I still think they should trade Siakam. I don't know why they haven't done that yet.
I've still got a feeling that Siakam gets dealt. Like I've got an inkling that he does. That's why I'm taking the under here. If they're still Siakam, I think they're right around this range. But with the possibility of Siakam being traded, plus I do think Fred VanVleet was decently important to what they're doing. Like I don't know if Schroeder's going to start at the one for them or if they're going to run. Yeah, they've got a new head coach. Scotty Barnes ran a lot of one last season. I don't know if they're going to have him do that again, but it was hit or miss at times. I don't know. They've just got a lot of weird personnel over there. It feels like they're in that middle stage where they should be heading towards a rebuild, but they haven't yet. So I'm still kind of thinking Siakam gets moved. If not now, maybe by the deadline. And once he gets moved at the deadline, I think the win total is going to crater. So I'm going to go with the under, thinking with that logic.
Yeah, I'm going with the under, just assuming. And this is another team we have coming up. I'm probably going to take their under too for like a very similar. So we can kind of transition to that. So Chicago.
Yeah.
That's who I want to talk. 30. They're also at 37.5. And I'm taking the under simply because I think they do eventually trade somebody.
Yeah, similar reason why I think I'm going to take that under as well. I believe that they're going to eventually trade either DeRozan or Levine, maybe both of them, by the deadline because I just don't think they're a great team right now. They had that really fun season when Lonzo was healthy where they were the 1 seed for like the first half of the year. And ever since he got hurt, and like he's supposed to be out again this entire season, they've already got the disabled player exception for him. It's just been rough ever since that first season over there. I think they should go ahead and blow it up. And yeah, like you said, I think I'm going to predict that they do. So similar situation, even if they're doing well in the first half of the season, by the time the deadline rolls around, that could crater, which I think is what they should do. They should try and not be great this upcoming season. Let Patrick Williams kind of just do his thing and see what you have in him as a former top 5 pick.
I think the Bulls and Raptors should take notes from the Wizards.
I agree. Those are the two teams that, in my
opinion,
those
were the 3 teams in the East for the longest time. We were like, come on, guys. And even the Pacers a little bit because the Pacers were kind of in like that mediocrity for a while, you know.
Yeah, and the Pacers committed to it, and they've already like flipped the script. Like they traded Sabonis, an all-star, got an all-star caliber guard back, and immediately are like, now we're talking about them taking the jump again because they didn't mess around for too long and made the trades. Like you have to commit to that.
I agree.
If the Bulls had done it like last year, who knows? Maybe at this point we're talking about like, hey, you know, another offseason, maybe the Bulls are back, but instead we're still talking about Levine and DeRozan being traded.
Tell me why when you said Bulls are back. All I can think is boys and back in town from High School Musical. That's the Bulls are back in town. That's all I could think of.
I completely forgot they did a rendition of that in High School Musical.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Those movies went hard. I haven't watched them in forever. They might suck now, but as like a
they
definitely
kid, if you go back and watch it, I guarantee they stay.
They probably do. I know Camp Rock sucks. I watched this
yeah.
YouTube video where a guy went back and rewatched Camp Rock, and it was bad.
We were so hyped when Camp Rock came out, though. We were staying with our grandpa in Florida,
so hyped.
And he had like, I swear, like his TV was probably smaller than the size of the monitors we're currently recording on, and we were just like eyes to like the screen watching Camp Rock. We could not wait.
I remember when High School Musical 2 came out, we were at Little League, and I was like desperate. I was like, we have to get home to go see High School Musical 2. Like, it's going to come on, because it used to just come on Disney Channel.
Yeah, they would just hype up. They would just like for like 4 weeks straight just put the date everywhere about when it was coming out. So even though like we didn't have the internet to like keep up with this stuff, like us as little kids, you watch one episode of Zack and Cody, you've seen 7 times when High School Musical 2 is coming out.
Exactly. But there's no DVR at that point. So it's like you got to get home to go see it, or you have to wait till next time it's on. And they would always also do the thing where they would be like, it's at 8/7 Central, only on Disney kind of thing. And for a while as a little kid, I had no idea what that meant. I don't know why they did that. Like, I guess those are their 2 biggest markets, but did they just run a different ad for
West Coast?
Yeah, for the West Coast, did they run a different ad? And if they could do that, why didn't they just do one for like the Central time zone, the East, like the Mountain? I don't know. Quick High School Musical tangent that we had there. The Hawks, 42.5 wins. Where are you going?
Let me see what they got last year.
I want to say like
41.
41. Okay.
And what's their offseason looking like? I know they got Sadiq Bey halfway through the season, so they'll have a full season of him.
Traded John Collins away to the Jazz for basically nothing. They got Patty Mills from us, I guess. Extended DeJounte Murray. Outside of that, I don't think they've made any acquisitions. Who'd they draft? They drafted Kobe Buffkin, who's an interesting guard over there. But I don't think he's going to make too much of an impact in his first season. They brought in or not brought in, but they'll have like another season of AJ Griffin. Like, it's going to be mostly internal development kind of things, it seems like. I don't know. It's tough. I could see them being right around 41 wins again, if I'm being honest. I think like anywhere from that 41 to 43 win range, like just barely over, just barely under. I think that's probably where they're going to be about again.
I think I'm going to take barely over. I think John Collins was kind of like, even though I feel like it might be addition by subtraction, I feel like he's a talented player on paper. And that's funny. We were just talking about the Jazz, actually. We didn't even mention that John Collins would be on the roster.
Oh, yeah, we didn't even mention that.
So that shows how important he is right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Maybe that changes things with the Jazz with John Collins in town, but I also don't know. Like, I like the draft too. Like, I like Taylor Hendricks and stuff. Maybe it should have been a bit nicer to the Jazz, but the NBA is also just really good at this point, so it's tough. Someone has to get an under.
Yeah, and I think with the Hawks, I'm going to take the over, but just by like a couple games. I think internal development, like you said, is going to be very crucial. Is Jalen Johnson, AJ Griffin, Kobe Buffkin, like, are these guys going to like be important role players? Am I missing anyone? And do they have another wing?
AJ Griffin, did you say? Sadiq Bey, DeAndre Hunter,
yeah, Jalen Johnson.
Jalen Johnson. I think you said all of them.
Okay.
Bogdanovich, I guess. If you,
I know he's there, but he wasn't in the group of players I was thinking about.
Yeah.
I just feel like the Hawks have had a lot of players that they seem like one of those teams that like get a bunch of young wings and just kind of stash them, and then just like,
it's weird. They have a bunch of like good talent on the roster, but it just does not translate. It's like a bunch of like solid players across the team. I
remember when people were so pissed that that Sharif Cooper fell really low and that they snagged him up, and then they just
and then he sucked.
He was awful.
Yeah, he played a little bit but was bad. He was good for the Cavs in summer league, so maybe he gets a spot back in the league. But
I know we talked about this on a past episode, but I do think they need to dump Capella, man. Move on.
Yeah, let Okongwu start. That's also another thing. They might dump him at some point. That could change their win projection too. I think I'm going to go under. I'm going to go 42. I think it's like right there.
Wait, isn't there? What's their over?
42.5. So right there.
I thought it was 41.5, and you said I'll take the under of 42. I'm like,
yeah, I'll take the under of 42.
But I was looking at their wins from last season. Yeah, I'll take the over, but just by like a game probably.
Yeah, I think that's one of like the most spot on ones in my opinion. It's
I agree.
Right
I think
there.
I can't see them being much more worse or better than that. Because when you have Trae Young and DeJounte Murray, you're gonna win some games, but I think their ceiling is kind of limited. I think their floor is pretty high, but their ceiling is also pretty low.
Yeah. Next, we got OKC, 43.5 wins. They got us finishing Above a couple of those teams. I'm taking the over on us.
No crap, bro.
No one's surprised by that. We went 40 and 42 this past season without Chet. We've now got him in the equation. We added Vasilije Micic coming over from the EuroLeague, who's a really solid role player that I think is going to be helpful. Another year of development for Giddey, for J-Dub. Shea, of course, has become an all NBA type of player. I think if I had to project, I would say we finish right around like 45, 46. I think we go like 2.5, 3, probably like 3-4 wins over. I've seen some Thunder fans say 50, which feels like maybe a little bit too much unless we get some really big jumps from some guys.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna say we finish with like mid 40s wins and we end up being a playoff team. Is what
I'll take the over, but I don't think by much. I think you'll win like 45 games.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
I think
if we get 45 wins, I think it's a really successful season. If we make the playoffs, I'm pretty happy with the way the season goes.
Yeah, you bring back the same team and you added Chet, so I mean, checks out that you win like maybe 1 or 2 more games, and that everyone's hopefully getting better. I think the only thing that can kill you is you somehow get an injury to like Shea or something, like God forbid. But I think that's the only way the Thunder don't get that win totals if like that happens. And that can be said for a lot of teams, but I think for the Thunder especially, Shea's like kind of like he's a leader, man.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we don't have another like all-star caliber talent quite yet to support the team if he ends up going out. But, assuming everyone is able to stay healthy, which again, like you said, hopefully I'm going to knock on wood real quick. Chet coming in fills our biggest need kind of having a 7-footer out there I think he's going to average a couple blocks per game. He's going to grab us some boards. He's going to be a lob threat. We finally have one of those. I think he fits a big need for this team. So yeah, I think we're going to finish right around like 45, 46. I could see us getting close to 50 if we get a jump from somebody, like if J-Dub or Giddey becomes an all-star caliber player this upcoming season. Not saying they make the game, but they become a guy that's like in those conversations, then maybe.
Yeah, they at least make the snub list,
Yeah, we'll have to see. I was thinking about this earlier. I actually think, let me see if I still have this tweet in my drafts. But the guards in the West, like the all-star spots, it's going to be wild for some of the guys out there. So the guard town in the West, you can have between 4 and 6 guards for the West in the All-Star game. Steph, Shea, Luka, Booker, Ja, although he doesn't really count.
He won't make it because he's
missing the first 25 games. Yeah. But just going over like the guards of the West, there's Ja, there's Anthony Edwards, there's Kyrie Irving, you've got De'Aaron Fox, Bradley Beal's now over there too. You have Jamal Murray, who's going to be on the radar now after the finals. Like that's 10 guards. Desmond Bain can maybe become an all-star caliber guard.
They had Paul George at guard for a while for the Clippers.
Yeah, their position stuff's always weird. He should be.
Dame technically is in the West still.
Shoot, Dame is technically still in the Western Conference. We don't know how much longer that's going to last. Yeah. James Harden could maybe be traded over to the Western Conference too. The guard talent in the West is ridiculous. It was just something I was thinking about because I was watching. I think it was Through the Wire, and they were talking about could Jamal Murray be an all-star next season, and they were like, yeah, maybe. But then thought about it and they were like, wait, there's a lot of great guards in the West. And so I went and did like the math in my head. Like that's 10 guards that I named. And you can only have 4 to 6 spots. I think like Steph, Luka, Shea, Booker, and like Anthony Edwards are probably like kind of locks. Like I feel like those 5 guys. But also like Fox feels like he should probably end up being a lock if he's as good as he was last year. Kyrie feels like he should be a lock. It's crazy. Like someone's going to get snubbed.
I think a lot of it's going to come down to how good the teams are. Like if the Mavericks come out the gate and like bust open and become the 1 seed, then I think we see Kyrie and Luka as all-stars as long as they're both playing good. Or if like the Nuggets are like even better than last year, like they're on pace for like 60, 65 wins, and I think Jamal Murray sneaks in there. Kind of like when the Bucks were really good for a while and people were like, why does Chris Middleton keep becoming an all-star? But he was averaging over 20 points per game on like a team that was like 10 games better than
one of the best teams in the conference. Yeah. So it's I just wanted to put it out there that it's a stacked Western Conference. Before we do predictions down the line. And as we continue to do this, like the talent in both conferences, but the West in particular, I feel like is crazy. Also at 43.5 wins with the Thunder are the Minnesota Timberwolves, 43.5 wins. I think I'm going to take the over on this.
I'm going to take the over too, because there's no way they're as bad as, because I feel like last season was like worst case scenario for their
roster.
They
missed that for like most of the year.
Yeah.
So I think
not that Cat and Gobert were very good when they were together, but
yeah. There were some signs of it working. I mean, McDaniels became an all-defensive caliber player.
All-star.
Maybe some
forwards in the West not as stacked. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's all guards. There's not a single forward out West. I mean, he could become one someday, maybe. But yeah, Ant is an all-star caliber player at this point. He could take another leap potentially. maybe they trade Cat. I still think they should consider trading Cat.
I think
just
if you
don't.
get like a really good return back, you can still have a playoff team around like Ant, Gobert, and whatever return you get.
Yeah, I don't know. I know he's been there for a while and he's been a staple of that team. He was the face of the franchise for a bit, but I don't think the Cat and Gobert thing is going to work long term. You put so many assets into Gobert, and to be honest, I think Gobert is just a better fit for the team. Like Cat's weird to me because I don't think he fits as a 4, and as a 5, I don't know if he works in the playoffs. Like he's been consistently mediocre every year in the playoffs. The rim protection doesn't exist.
Not that they've made the playoffs very much to to give you the sample size.
That's fair, small sample size, but yeah, he hasn't been good. So I would consider trading Cat if I was the Timberwolves. But yeah, I'm going to go over a little bit because they've got some young guys that I think could improve. I think Mike Conley looked good with them after the deadline, so he'll be back on this team. They also added like Shake Milton, who I like as an acquisition. They brought in they kept Naz Reid, which is big for them too. So
they brought in another role player. I don't remember who it was, but they brought in somebody else.
Troy Brown Jr. They brought in.
Yeah, was there anyone else? I swear they brought someone else, like the Shake Milton type of player.
It does kind of feel like they brought someone else in, but I don't think so.
They brought Nah back.
Oh yeah, Nick Alexander-Walker's back.
Yeah, I think that might have been it.
I think it was. I don't think they brought anyone else.
Has anyone signed Jalen Noel yet?
I don't think so. I think he's still out there, which is kind of surprising.
I think he's kind of nice, man. I don't know how he's unsigned.
Yeah, he hasn't been signed, has he?
All right, he did shoot 29% from 3 last year, but
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe
he's young.
Yeah, I did, and I feel like I gambled on him a couple times in like fantasy. I swear he was going crazy. He was like he was such a guaranteed bucket for a couple.
I mean, he shot 39.4% the season before. Like he's shown he can shoot at times. I don't know. He is a player that I'm surprised hasn't been picked up yet. I thought he would have been like a Phoenix Sun or something.
Yeah, like some team on a minimum. Like, jeez,
maybe there's still time. Maybe he gets picked up on one of those teams that's looking for a little more depth. But yeah, I think I'm going to go a little bit over for Timberwolves. I think they'll be right around kind of what our win total is for this upcoming season.
Yeah.
All right, Knicks also at 43.5. We have quite a few teams at this range. The Knicks at 43.5 wins. I think I'll probably go over for the Knicks. I thought they were good. Like they obviously were good this past season. They made the second round. Josh Hart was big for them in the second half of the year too. He was really good when he got there. Brunson's great. He's an all-star caliber guard, even if he didn't make it. Julius Randle is up and down in the playoffs, but in the regular season, he was really good. So although it is an even year, and we know what happens with Julius Randle in those even years, he likes to take a little bit of a dip. So if that ends up happening, it's a different story.
Evan Fournier is on his revenge tour too. So.
Yeah, Evan Fournier's pissed at Tom Thibodeau apparently. So I didn't love the Obi Toppin trade. I will say that. I didn't love the decision to trade him for 2 seconds. Maybe he like secretly was like, hey, I kind of want out. I want to go spread my wings somewhere else. And if that's the case, then I get it. But, I think he's a good talent that could have been there as, a backup guy. I just need to worry a bit about their backup big position. Isaiah Hartenstein, I think, is a good player, but he doesn't feel like a great fit for their system, what they're trying to do over there. So I don't know. It's a bit weird, but
had a couple of nice games. I remember he was playing against the Sixers one time, and Doris Burke, and Mark Jones were like, if you'd never watched any basketball and you were just watching the Sixers and watching Jericho Sims just play really good against us, you would think that he was like some all NBA center the way they were talking about it. It was so funny.
I love when commentary crews just pick these random role players or young guys that they're like, this guy's up next. And he'll start having this crazy game. And they're like, I told you, this is the guy. Yeah, I feel like there was another player that they did that with someone on the Thunder, I think. I can't remember who it was. All I know is all the commentary crews made a million jokes about, oh, look, they've got 2 Jalen Williamses every single time we're on national TV, which is a lot of fun because those jokes, I think we're going to get I wouldn't be surprised if we got 10 national TV games or something like that this upcoming season.
You'll get 7.
Yeah, we could get 7, but they're going to be a lot of those Jalen Williams' jokes, and I'm not ready for that. But yeah, I mean, the Knicks won 47 games this past year. I think there are a few teams in the East that got worse, so I'm going to say they probably finished right around 47 again. I'm going to go with the over.
I'll take the over as well.
Kings, 43.5. It would be they won 48 this past season.
I might be a freaking hater, man, but I think they kind of overachieved last year.
Mm-hmm. I somewhat agree with. I'm going to go over. I don't think they get to 48 again, purely because they got really lucky with their health this past season. I don't know if you looked at it. There was some stat where the Kings like really did not have any injuries this past year. At least when you compare it to other teams, like so many teams in the Western Conference just got decimated by injuries. The Kings were pretty healthy. So if some other teams are a bit healthier, I could see that dropping a little bit. You know, it was kind of the first year of them putting this thing together. Now they also are kind of young with De'Aaron Fox being relatively young, like Keegan Murray. Domantas Sabonis is still young-ish, like he's not over 30. So I think they could have some improvements across the roster, which could lead to them still being like they could be a better team this upcoming year. But I think with the talent in the West, they're going to drop a bit in wins. So yeah, I'm going to say right around, I think them, like the Thunder, the Timberwolves, like I think we're all going to kind of be around like a similar range, if you ask me. So, between like 46, 47-ish wins.
I'm going to go under, and I'm going to spoil some of my picks like that I'm about to talk about. But in my opinion, the Lakers are going to be much better than 43 wins this year. The Warriors, I think, will be better than their 44 they had last season. I think the Clippers will be better than their 44. The Suns will be better than their 45. I think the Pelicans are better than their 42. Y'all are better than your 40. The Mavericks are better than their 30. Someone's got to fall if all those teams are going to come up. And I think the Kings might be one of those victims, not because, like you said, not because they're bad, but just because the other teams are probably better.
Yeah, someone has to unfortunately take a fall. Like, I think all these teams are good. It really feels like one of the deepest NBA seasons we've ever had when just looking at these teams.
Yeah.
But I mean, someone's got to lose a game every night. So let's go with the Pelicans. 43.5 wins.
So, all right, I'm going to spoil a segment that we're going to do a little bit later, and we can throw, because I think we have to talk about this while we're doing this. So I tweeted out from my Twitter, which if you're not following me at Ninja Bands, I tweet out a lot of stuff for these episodes. So if you want to
follow Ryan,
featured in an episode, make sure you check it out. But this was one that I came up with. And I said Zion over 40.5 games played this year.
Yeah, see, that's hard.
So for reference, hold on, I'm going to pull up his basketball reference, see how many games he's played in his career. He played 29 last year, none the year before, and then 61.
Yeah. Man, see, that's the problem with this win total for the Pelicans.
Yeah.
This feels, if they're healthy, they smash this, in my opinion.
Oh, like absolutely, I agree.
Like they win like 50 games, I think. But
so it's basically, are you buying in on Zion staying healthy?
I don't know. I want to. I think I'm gonna go over, because I'm gonna hope he is able to stay healthy. So I'm gonna go over on this. But I think there's a real chance he gets hurt again. I'm a big Trey Murphy believer. I think he's gonna be really good. Brandon Ingram is great. So I'm gonna go over. I think they go ahead and get it done. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that Zion is finally able to play like consistently.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the over too. I mean, I'm Team Gumbo. I feel like he's got to eventually got to show out, man. He can't get hurt. Like, I don't know, man. I think he'll be at least healthy enough to win some games. I don't think he's not gonna play 80-something games, but I could see him playing 60.
Yeah, just play 60. Like, that's all we need.
Games, and I think that's all you need.
Yeah. So, fingers crossed we see a healthy season out of Zion. Next one we have is the Mavericks at 45.5 wins.
Based on their current roster, I'm taking the under. I do think they'll be way better than the 38 they had last year, but I still think they need to make some improvements, I think.
Yeah, this is another team I think is, again, around that range that we talked about with like some of those other teams where it's like 45, 46, 47-ish. Like, I think they're also in that range. I've seen a lot of people who have loved this offseason from the Mavericks. I like what they've done, but I think there's still some holes on this team. Like, the big man position still worries me. I do like that they brought in Grant Williams. I think he's a good fit for this team. I think a starting lineup of Luka, Kyrie, Josh Green, Grant Williams is pretty good. But Dwight Powell's still your 5, and we
cannot escape, man. It's like Mason Plumlee in the freaking.
It really is like Mason Plumlee on the Hornets. You can never get rid of Dwight Powell. So I don't know. I don't think he's a great starting center. They brought in Rashawn Holmes, who is, in theory, maybe a good piece, but he was not good this past season. Like, the Kings hardly even played him because he hasn't been good. Derek Lively's young. I don't think he's really ready to impact the game at a high level quite yet. I think eventually he could, but he's not there yet.
Any good in Summer League?
He was pretty solid in Summer League, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I just don't think the defense is good enough yet. I still worry a lot about it. Like Josh Green and Grant Williams are solid defenders. The big man position's a big question mark. Luke and Kyrie are going to get torched out there. The bench has some solid pieces, but I worry a little bit about them. Also, I just realized like yesterday that somehow I missed in the whole Grant Williams thing that Reggie Bullock was dealt to the Spurs in that. Like I just am somehow realizing that. I think when that trade happened, I was in Vegas, so I like saw it and then was busy doing other stuff. So I don't know. Or actually, I think it might have even been on my flight day. But
I think it was on your flight day, I think, actually.
Yeah, I think that's why I kind of missed it. So I don't know. I think I'm going to go over for the Mavericks. It's again going to be another team that's like right around that range of like 46-ish wins. I don't know. I have to see it on, I think, actually in practice before I buy into them too much.
I'm a huge Luka fan. Like Luka's probably one of my favorite players. That's not a Philadelphia 76er, but I think they're one move away from getting towards that like high 40s win total.
Yeah, I don't think they're like a championship contender. I've seen some people say that they are. I don't think so. I just don't think they're there yet. Same number, Grizzlies, 45.5 wins.
No, man, this is tough because like
the Ja Morant 25-game suspension is huge.
But the Grizzlies are a super team without Ja, apparently.
That is true, but they don't have Tyus Jones anymore, who was part of that super team.
So who's going to start point guard? Derrick Rose?
Marcus Smart will probably just start there.
I don't love that.
I mean, he provides the defense. The problem is, he's not going to give you the like downhill penetration, the rim pressure of like a Ja Morant. He's not going to make it a similar high level. Not that Derrick Rose would do that either.
What?
So
Smart, Bane.
It'll probably be
Roddy
or Zaire Williams. They'll probably start the three.
That team sucks. I'm sorry. That team's not good.
they've got Jaren at the 4. They've got Steven Adams out there at the 5. Like
that team is not good, man. You cannot tell me that starting 5 is better than a lot of these teams we've talked about, like the Wolves, the Kings, even OKC, the Pelicans. They're not Mavericks. I don't think that starting 5 is better than any of theirs.
I mean, maybe.
I might be a freaking hater, but
I mean, I think I don't know about now, but David Roddy feels like a player that could take a bit of a jump. We'll see what happens with Zaire Williams.
Man, I saw he was getting cooked in Summer League, bro. I don't know.
That 3 spot is really the question for them. I agree that that's kind of the weak point for them right now. We don't still know like who is really going to be there. Maybe they make an acquisition at the deadline. By the way, if you're watching this video like way in the future, it's July 19th. If we said your favorite team was an under or we weren't super sold on them, and then they made some big blockbuster trade, don't come back to this video and clown us for this.
Nah, this is bro. I want the attention. Give it all.
Or I guess clown us and come for the clout. But yeah, that 3 spot is worrying. I mean.
So my other thing with the Grizzlies, and on paper they have a lot of nice pieces, but offensively I think it's gonna be tough to find buckets, man. Because like Desmond Bane's gonna be your go-to scorer, which he didn't do. He wasn't really as I don't know. I really thought he was gonna do.
He was really good. He was really good pre-injury.
Yeah,
like he looked like an all-star type of player. Yeah. But afterwards, it was hit or miss.
Jaren Jackson Jr. can get you some. He's very inconsistent, but he can't be your. He's not going to be a go-to scorer on any given night. He can be your guy. Like he can go off, but I don't know. Steven Adams, we know for damn sure Steven Adams isn't going to be your guy.
Yeah,
you're not giving David Roddy the rock.
The offense is going to be a problem.
I think that's the issue.
Like, and even when Ja's back, like I still do think they've got some concerns with their.
They need Dylan Brooks
overall score. I don't think they need Dylan Brooks back for the offense, but. Yeah, I don't know. I think those Ja Morant games are really going to help them sink or swim. If Ja's out for 25 games and they go like 12 and 13, we'll see if they're able to hold their own. Maybe they'll end up being fine. This is a tough one because of if Ja was healthy the full season, again, I think they smashed this.
Oh, absolutely.
Not healthy, but if he's not suspended.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I think I'm again going to go around that. I said that every team is going to win like 46 games, but I think that's kind of the realm that we're going to see a lot of these teams in. I'm going to go again, like just barely over.
Yeah, no, I'm smashing the under in this. When Luke Kennard's like your 3rd best offensive player, you're not going to win 45 games. So
I'm guessing you meant offensive player, unless you were giving Luke Kennard defensive hype.
What'd you say?
I'm guessing you said Luke Kennard 3rd best defensive player.
Well, I think I said offensive. I might have just spoke fast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you're getting into some Luke Kennard defensive player of the year type of agendas over there.
Nah, we good on that. I mean, the Grizzlies already got 2 fake defensive player of the year, so I mean.
Oh my God! All right, we'll move on now. Marcus Smart maybe a little bit, but Jaren, no, Jaren's not a fake deep boy.
Bam.
I think Marcus
or
Smart
Robert
should
Williams.
I think Marcus Smart should have been Robert Williams, but
Yeah,
regardless,
Robert Williams, yeah.
I'm just happy they gave it to a guard because now I can push Lou Dort agendas. All right, Lakers 48.5 wins. Going over or under?
Over.
I think I'm also going to go over.
I think they addressed all their roster concerns, and I think they're basically bringing back the same team, and they had one of the best off seasons.
Yeah, this is another situation where I'm going to hope that they're healthy, like with the Pelicans.
I mean, if LeBron or AD miss a lot of time, then they're not going to do. But if LeBron and AD are healthy, nothing else matters. Like Austin Reeves is somehow a borderline all-star player. He gets a superstar whistle out of nowhere. I mean, you got D'Lo back. You got a lot of the let's go through their pickups real quick. Hold on, let me pull up the roster because I know they have
Gabe Vincent. They added.
I like that a lot.
They brought back Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura. They added Taurean Prince, which I really like.
And Rui was an underrated pickup for them too, man. I think, especially, it's kind of crazy.
He's looking like Klay Thompson against the Grizzlies.
That's what I'm saying. Let's see who else we got. They got Cam Reddish as a depth piece. That's cool. They still have Vanderbilt. So Jackson Hayes. I mean, I don't know, man. They just like their 10th or 11th man are like guys that could be rotation pieces for other teams. So I think they're pretty deep, and I think they have a lot of like. They cover all your bases. You know, you got Gabe Vincent to help with shooting, at Taurean Prince for like versatility. Austin Reeves is a freaking point forward out of nowhere. D'Lo can be a lights out shooter. I mean, Jared Vanderbilt's supposed to be good at defense. I know he kind of got played off the court sometimes in the playoffs. But he's supposed to be.
If he needs to learn to knock down a corner three, and then he'll be good. So,
I mean, Rui can shoot and play, you know, some bigger balls. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I like the versatility of the roster. I think it's pretty deep, and I like it.
Yeah, I'm going to go over 2. I think they could be a 50-win team this season. Again, if guys can stay healthy, we'll see if that's actually the case. Yep. But yeah, I'm going to go over.
I mean, if Anthony Davis returns to his street clothes ways, then probably not. But
yeah, if AD's getting injured, if LeBron's getting hurt, like we've seen the past couple years from Bron and also, of course, Anthony Davis, then yeah, 50 wins is tough. But I'm going to try to assume health here, and they're at 48.5. I'm going to say they get right to about 50. Speaking of getting to 50 wins, we've got the Warriors sitting here at 49.5 wins. Over, under.
I think I'm going to take the under on that.
I think I'm also going to take a little bit of an under.
I still think the Warriors have fumbled the bag in not trading younger pieces for high-end talent.
Mm-hmm.
Or win now. I guess not high-end, but like win now talent. I think that's something they've kind of been... I mean, they did it a little bit with the Jordan Poole, Chris Paul trade, but that wasn't what I really had in mind. I was thinking more of like Moody and Kuminga. Mm-hmm. And I guess, and then Wiseman back when he still had trade value. But I don't know, man. I just feel like, I don't know. I could see them. I don't think they're awful, but I think I could see them being more of like a 46, 45 win team.
It's also like the Warriors, like they never try too hard in the regular season. It feels like, like it's a team. I don't know. Like they could head into a. I mean, how many wins do they have in their? How many wins was it in their title season back in 2022?
It wasn't that many. I can look. Hold on.
I'll check real quick. I guess they did win 53. I thought they won like right about 50. But like they don't need to go for a 1 seed to compete for a title. They've still got Steph, Clay, Draymond. They've always been good with those guys. I think Chris Paul does help this team. I do worry a bit about the depth on the roster. I think they've still got some holes there. Maybe the whole Jordan Poole, Draymond Green situation was really hanging over them this past season, which made them look super inconsistent. I think the Warriors are, again, going to be a championship contender. It feels like they always are with this group of guys. But at the same time, with the regular, it's never really about the regular season with the Warriors. No. So I'm going to say they get, I think, about 49 wins. You know, maybe even like right at 50 is good for Golden State. But I agree with you. I still think they should try and look to maybe deal Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga for more win now pieces. I think it's important to prioritize Steph's window while you still have that. So I might go under just at like 49, over at 50. I think it's between those two.
They're not. I don't think they win 50 games. I think they're a mid to high 40 win team, which is still perfectly fine. And I think that's enough to make a top 6 seed in the West potentially.
Yeah, with how close things are, like there are going to be so many teams, in my opinion, that are right there between 45 to 50 wins.
I mean, that's what happened last year. I mean, that's what happened this year in the West. I mean, you have the play-in team and the 4 seed separated by 3 games. I think that's going to be the same thing this year.
Yeah, the 3 seed had 48 wins. The 10 seed had 40 wins. Like it was an 8-win difference all the way down the standing. So I agree. I think I'm going to go like 49 wins for the Warriors. So I'll go right about there too. Also at 49.5, we've got the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I'm gonna take the over, but I think they have a pretty similar record as last year. I could see. I think they have a very similar season.
I take the over too. I like the acquisitions that they made. They filled out the bench a little bit. I could see a big season from Evan Mobley, another year of Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell together. I think they end up right around again 50-51 wins like they did.
What did we say their biggest weaknesses last year? Bench depth and shooting, and what was their offseason? Bench depth and shooting.
Yeah, so they address their needs. We'll see if it's enough to make them like one of the top, like most upper echelon teams in the East. But I do think they did enough to at least keep themselves at a similar win total, if not jump a little bit. So, yeah, I'm going to say about 50-51 again. And plus the East, I think the East got a bit easier. Like the Nets are no longer that much of a force out there. You've got Harden might be being traded from the Sixers. I think the Raptors and Bulls might end up dropping a little bit.
The Wizards fell off.
Yeah, the Wizards fell off. Like a couple of different teams. I think more teams fell off in the East or could fall off than in the West. Mm-hmm. So I like their odds of jumping a little bit more.
And he's definitely not going to affect their win total that much, but I think Imani Bates might be one of the steals of the draft, in my opinion.
Hey, he's looked good. I mean, I'm rooting for him. I'm hoping.
I mean, I think he should have been a lottery pick? No, but I think there's just so much high-end talent with him that the fact that he fell so low in the second round to get to Cleveland is just like kind of mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, the second round is where you take swings. I like that swing for Cleveland because they kind of have all their young talent established. Like they've got their core going forward. They can afford to just take a swing at a high upside guy. If he doesn't hit, then it's not that big of a deal for them. So I like that. I think the Cavs in particular are a great landing spot for him. So hopefully he's able to kind of refine some of what he showed back when he was like the number one projected guy in high school. Mm-hmm. We've got
a bold prediction. He plays meaningful minutes for them this year at some point.
Hey man, that'd be cool. I'm rooting for it. I'm an Imani Bates supporter. BR had me do a whole stream all about Imani Bates, and the Cavs fans convinced me to become a supporter. So I'm there. We got four teams left. The Suns next at 51.5 wins. I made a full video today talking about how they're super weird because I still worry about their defense. The offense is going to be ridiculous. Their depth is a bit shaky. I like a lot of the acquisitions that they made. But the big thing is the injuries. Again, like we talked about with a couple of those other teams. If they stay healthy, I think they beat this. I think I'm going to go right about like 52-ish wins.
Yeah. I think they're a low 50s team. I'm going to take the over as well.
Yeah. I think they're going to hover right around there, around 51, 52 wins. So I'll go with that too. The Milwaukee Bucks at 52.5 wins right now. They were the 1 seed this past season. They won 58 games. I'm going to go over for the Bucks. You've got
regular season merchants, absolute over.
You've got Giannis, you've got Drew, you've got Chris Brook. Like, new head coach is going to be a bit of a change for them, but I don't think that's enough to throw them off.
I am going to say,
Chris Middleton didn't play a lot of, like, he missed a lot of games this past season too.
And they still
were still 58-win team.
So that tells me that Chris Middleton stinks, right? Just kidding.
That's the Ja Morant argument.
Yeah. But my one thing with the Bucks is I feel like they're kind of due for a recession of sorts at some point. Like, sure, you have Giannis, but I don't know, man. They keep running out the same roster year in and year out. I think at some point we might see like a panic type of season from the Bucks. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I know what you're talking about.
Kind of like, the Celtics a couple of years back when everyone was like, blow up the Celtics, they stink, or even, and then before they went on that crazy, win streak. Mm-hmm. But remember, they were like playing a lot of the season at like 500. Everyone was like, "Oh, we need to trade one of the Jays." I don't know. I can see the Bucks potentially having one of those, like they're at like 500 at like the trade deadline, and then they like go on a crazy tear at the end to be fine. But I'm still gonna take the over. But you heard it here first: that the Bucks have some kind of weird season.
That's Ryan's bold prediction that the Bucks have a weird year. Yeah. Two left. We've got the Celtics at 53.5 wins. I'm taking the over on that.
I think they can win 60. I think they can win 60 games this year, man.
I think they could win. They won 57 this past year. I think they got better with the Porzingis trade. It might take some gelling time, which could take them down a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think I'm expecting right around 57-ish wins and a 1 seed from the Celtics is kind of what I'm thinking.
But I don't know, man. They lost Grant Williams, so we'll see. And Marcus, I don't think you can discount the Marcus Smart thing too. That's interesting.
You definitely can't. I mean, I think that is going to be a factor. But to me, I feel like the Marcus Smart loss might play up more in the playoffs, where they're maybe missing that elite guard defense, although they do still have Derek White, who's an amazing defender as well. But I think they could miss Marcus Smart a bit more in those big playoff moments. I think in the regular season, they'll probably be fine.
It'll also be interesting to see how Malcolm Brogdon's health goes, considering that he was supposed to go to the Clippers, and they said his medical records were not good enough. So it'll be interesting to see if he's actually
That
Hurt.
shoulder injury that he had.
Yeah.
I think it was something with his arm. But finally, we have the Denver Nuggets at 54.5 wins. This past season, they won what, like 50? Yeah, they won 53. So this is projected.
Which is funny because if you'd asked me ahead of time, I would have said they won more games. I really thought they won more than that.
It felt like they won more. Yeah, I mean, not a lot of teams won above 50 games. It was 4 in the East, and the only team that won, or I guess 2 teams with the Nuggets and the Grizzlies, they won over 50.
I think part of the reason why it felt like the Nuggets won a lot more games is because all those teams won like 43 to like 46 games. Like there was like so many, like the whole middle of the West was that same win total. So then when you have a team in the mid 50s and they're like 10 games up on them, it kind of makes it seem like, they have way more wins than they probably do.
Yeah, because they felt like another tier up from a lot of those squads. Yeah.
And I'm going to take the under on the Nuggets. I think they didn't really do anything to improve in the offseason. And I think everyone else got better and they kind of got worse.
I'm also going to take the under, mainly because we see this with a lot of teams where they win a title and then they have like kind of a championship hangover where the regular season they've won the title now. Like they're probably not going to take the regular season as seriously. They don't need to. They've shown they can put it together. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't the 1 seed this time, even though I still think they're the best team in the West. I think we could see them drop a few wins below, or kind of stay around where they were, drop a few wins below. I do think Bruce Brown was pretty important to what they did, so I could see that also playing a little bit of a factor. No Jeff Green either, bro. So, yeah, no Jeff Green, Rockets legend now. So
what's their bench looking like? Because I feel like their bench is looking kind of grody.
Their bench is going to be, they're going to have Christian Brown coming off their bench. He was really good this past season.
He was. But like when it gets past him, though, like it's kind of gross.
Still got DeAndre Jordan over there.
Definition of gross right there.
They did bring Justin Holiday. We'll see what happens with him.
Also gross. He is the most overrated player I've ever seen.
I love how you become a Justin Holiday hater on the podcast. They did bring back Reggie Jackson, who I didn't
love
in his minutes. So it's going to be a lot of young guys.
Their bench is terrible.
Like they're going to depend a lot on some young guys to step up, in my opinion, which, maybe doesn't end up working super great. We'll see.
Could this be the worst bench in the NBA?
Definitely not the worst.
I mean, name me a worse bench than Reggie Jackson, DeAndre Jordan, Zeke Naji, Ish Smith.
I think Zeke Naji will probably play. DeAndre Jordan's not going to play basketball from the Nuggets. I would be shocked if he did.
Last year.
Okay, I mean, like every now and again. Hey, they signed Jay Huff. Don't sleep.
In two-way.
Jay Huff and Braxton Key, 2 UVA legends over there.
Is Braxton Key a full contract or two-way?
He's a 2-way, I think.
That's crazy, bro, that they both have their 2-ways.
Yeah.
But, dude, this might be the worst bench in the NBA.
It is not the worst bench in the NBA.
Name me one worst bench.
The Wizards bench.
All right. Worst bench for a team that's supposed to be good.
Okay. A worst bench for a team that's supposed to be good? I mean, I don't think the Cavs bench is still kind of shaky.
All right, the Cavs bench clears that. Oh, my, get out of here.
Man, I don't know.
Nah. Comment below. Who has a worse bench than the Nuggets? That's a playoff team.
The problem is that the thing with the Nuggets, too, is that with Jokic, and I feel like with the system that they set up, like almost anybody can succeed over there. Like, I think they can make things work.
Tell that to Reggie Jackson. We'll see.
The most random shots at Reggie Jackson and Justin Holiday. You're just a Nuggets hater because the Jokic Embiid stuff.
No, the thing is I'm not, because I'm not hating on their starting lineup. I think their starting lineup is elite. Like I think Murray, KCP, Gordon, Jokic, and MPJ is like that's a top 5 starting lineup easily. Like no questions asked. But that bench sucks, man. That bench is really bad. At least as of now. Like, who knows? Maybe some people will step up and get better.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, man.
Let's see what ESPN projects as their depth chart. I'm interested to see what they say.
Okay.
They've got their bench unit as Reggie Jackson, Christian Brown, Justin Holiday, Peyton Watson, Zeke Naji.
That is awful, dude.
Still, you're a hater. You're a hater. Peyton Watson is supposed to be good this season. I like Peyton Watson.
The thing with Peyton Watson is, didn't he average like 5 points per game? Like when he got drafted, like he's a project, isn't he? I remember when he got drafted. I was like, they just drafted dude in the first round who averaged 5 points per game.
Peyton Watson I think I don't think he had a great college. I mean, in his
Pretty good.
he played 23 UCLA, I think. Yeah, UCLA.
Okay.
He averaged this past season, he played 8.1 minutes per game. He averaged 3.3 points per game, 1.6 boards, half an assist, half a block, shot 42.9% from deep, 49.2%
Maybe he'll be all right.
from the field.
He's gonna have to be a big piece for them, though.
Yeah, Peyton Watson. If you ask Nuggets fans who's supposed to pop off this season, they're all Peyton Watson believers. Like, that's the guy.
The funny thing is, I look up Peyton Watson. The first link is Nuggets Peyton Watson's concerns after 2023 NBA Summer League. So what?
Hater.
Yeah, this article says Clutch Points is hating on Peyton Watson. Apparently,
I met the owner of Clutch Points when I was in Vegas.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I just like it was at that retired players thing that I was at.
Cool.
And the guy I was with, Jack, shout out to Jack, was talking to him, and he was like, he's like, that was the owner of Clutch Points. I was like, oh, that's crazy. He was just there, like holding an iPhone camera sideways, just like recording an interview that someone was doing with him.
Mm-hmm.
So
very cool.
Shout out to him. But yeah, those are our over-unders. Let us know what you think. What's hearing your team's over-under. Let us know what you think about that in the comment section below. Again, Sixers, Heat, Blazers, Rockets, Clippers, Nets. Not on this list at the moment because they could potentially be in trades, and there's also the Rockets. So I don't want to see any of you comment. I know there's going to be somebody who comments down below like, why didn't you talk about this team? I put it out there like 3 times. If you didn't hear us talk about your favorite team.
Just in case you didn't hear, Sixers, Heat, Blazers, Rockets, Clippers, Nets did not have a win total, and there's still a lot up in the air, so we did not do them.
Mm-hmm. Also, comment down below that you're mad that we didn't talk about them to help with the YouTube algorithm. Thank you.
Yeah, can you guys please just rage at us in the comments? Like, I was really disappointed that we had like 3 comments on the last episode, and I meant to mention this in the beginning, but I'll do that for next episode of this one. I was getting a lot of comments here. Just comment, bro. We get that our podcast is good, so you don't need to flame us at all in the comments, but like, I don't know, man. You can fake flame us. I don't know. Just get that algorithm going, man.
Fake beef.
Fake beef. Pick someone in the comments and just say you hate their profile pic and just, cause some bad.
Do not start that negativity. Do not start that.
You say you strongly dislike their profile pic, and then it could be better.
All right. Ryan's trying to start a negative community. Last thing we're going to do before we head out, and then we kind of have a little thing at the end too. I guess let's do this quickly first. I want to talk quickly about which non-playoff team could take a leap. I think we're probably going to have the same answer, so this will probably be short. I'm kind of thinking like Grizzlies mold, where they were that playing team that year, and they ended up making the playoffs, but I'm more so thinking like young teams that could be on the verge of taking a big leap to becoming a really solid team in their conference, like the Grizzlies did a few years ago. And some of the teams I put on the list are like, I didn't put the Thunder on here because we already kind of established ourselves this past season, so I didn't feel like we should put them in the conversation with some of these other squads. But it's like the Pacers, the Magic, the Pistons, the Rockets are a team that some people have talked about maybe taking a leap. The Hornets, I guess we could throw it in there too. I feel like both our answers can be the Pacers. Like,
yeah, I'm gonna keep my super wild card is the Hornets, because I think as awful as a person as he is, Miles Bridges is a pretty good dang basketball player, and you're adding basically an all-star to a top 3 pick, hopefully a healthy LaMelo. I don't know, man. I think the Hornets could be sneaky.
It could be interesting.
The Pacers are definitely my pick, but if I had to pick a backup, I'm picking them.
That's fair. Yeah. If I had to pick someone outside the Pacers, I think I'd go with the Magic if they can get their shooting figured out. But I think the Pacers, in my opinion, are that team. If someone's going to take a leap out there in the East this year, I think it could be them. So, absolutely. Yeah, I just want to get that segment out of the way real quick. And now, if you want to go ahead, we can do the player over-unders. That you got.
So we're getting kind of up here in time, so we can kind of speed run this. But all right. Also, your one you put at the bottom literally copied the one I wrote 2 above it.
No, it didn't.
It's the same. It's asking the same thing.
No, it's not. It's not asking the same thing. We'll get to it. It's
not. Oh, non-Dame. Oh, I said Dame/Harden. Like it's literally.
No. Like, it's all yours. I'm going to erase yours. That one was mine.
All right. So these all came from Twitter. So shout out all these people. My boy Matt. I was at the gym with him, and I was on my way home. I said, "Give me some hot Heat ones for this one." So he was doing some research, and it's kind of hard for the Heat because they're still in limbo with the Dame one. But he found this interesting tidbit. Kevin Love played exactly 20 minutes for both the Heat and the Cavs last season. Does Kevin Love play above or below 20 minutes per game next season?
I'm going to take the under.
Now, I already told you my logic while I'm taking the over. I'm taking the over simply because I think they got the roster for Dame. and he has to play more. I'm taking
that's
over.
fair.
I think they lose like 3 or 4 people off the roster, and by default, he has to play more.
That's fair. Kevin Love kind of fell out of the playoff rotation this past year. I don't think he's going to play that much.
Mm-hmm.
I like other guys in the roster over him, so I think he'll play, but it's not that much. So I'm going to go under.
And I have him at the over, thinking that they get Dame and no other pieces. If they get Dame and trade people with, like if they, because I know we've talked about at length how Christian Wood would be kind of a good fit at the 4 there next to Bam. If they sign Christian Wood, Kevin Love's not playing more than 20 minutes a game, probably, because that's another guy to take away his playing time. But if the roster stands as is and they just gut it for Dame, Kevin Love's over. At least in my opinion.
Yeah. Shout out to Kevin Love.
And then while we're on the Matt train, the Matt Love train, Bam over, under, and you can kind of split this up, a 2010 season.
2010. Let me take a look at exactly what his numbers were this past season.
I was going to do the same thing because I was curious.
20.4 points per game, 9.2 rebounds. So just like under 2010. I'm going to go over because I'll go over on both. I think Dame getting there, which I do think ends up happening. The playmaking will be huge for Bam, even though he's going to take a lot of points away, which is why I was hesitant to say over. I think if anybody takes more of a backseat, it's Jimmy in that regard. Like his points drop more. I think the playmaking the pick and rolls, pick and pop, like just any 2-man action that you involve with Bam, which I want to see Bam shoot 3 so bad. I really think he could be a decent 3-point shooter out there. But I'm going to say that he ends up averaging around like 21 and 10. I'm going to go over.
So points I'm going over for the same reason, but the boards, I think this is a very underrated thing. And I think you'll agree on this with me once you hear my rationale. How many times have you bet on Bam rebounds and Tyler Hero takes all of them?
That specific instance, I don't know if I can say very often. I know it's happened before.
Matt, I know Matt's going to be listening to this. If you're listening to this, Matt, I want you to text me because I know you're going to agree with this. Tyler Hero loves taking Bam's rebounds. There are so many times.
He's going to be traded, though.
That's exactly. So Bam's getting more boards.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I think you said under, or I thought you said under.
I said I'm taking over on both. I agree with you on the scoring aspect. For the rebounds is because Tyler Hero's gone.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. I mean, I think my ears just aren't working this episode.
The board hog is gone.
All right. Tyler Hero's going to leave and finally let Bam get his 2010 seasons. Mm-hmm. So you also had a few more here. You had one from Sonboy. I think it's how it's pronounced. Hopefully we got that one right. Scoot Henderson, over under 20 points per game.
Over.
I'm going to say under.
By how much, though? What's your official prediction?
I'm going to go with like 17, 18, I think.
As long as Dame's gone, it's over. Him and Simon are going to chuck that thing.
I mean, Jeremy Grant, the problem is Jeremy Grant's there too. I think Jeremy Grant and Simons will for sure average over 20. I don't see any way the Blazers have 3 20-point per game average guys. I don't think it happens. So if Jeremy Grant was gone as well, I could see him averaging over 20. If I had to make like a guess, I would say like he averages 17 and 6 or something like that, which would be a great rookie season. Like that's stellar. So I'm gonna go with that.
I'm gonna go wild. I'm gonna give him the over.
Okay, let's do it. I rock with it. Just like through my mouse. Next one we got Liam. Tyrese Maxey, 26.5 points per game, and also coming from Luna while we're on the topic of the Sixers, Embiid 31.5 points per game.
I think I'm taking the under on Max, even if Harden's traded. I think that they're going to get enough back to where the scoring will be offset in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think Maxey's going to take a leap to about like 22, I can see. And I think Embiid, I'll take. What did Embiid end up with last year? Was it like 32? Did he get the 32 points per game? I think I'll take the over on Embiid, and I'll take the under on Maxey. Even if Harden gets traded, I'm taking the under on Maxey as well, just to clarify.
But for some reason, I thought Maxey averaged more than 20.3. I thought he was like at 21 for some reason.
So did I, but
yeah, I'm gonna take the under. That's a huge leap for Maxey to go to 27, even if Harden's gone. I think that would sacrifice a lot of efficiency, in my opinion. So I'm gonna go with like I think 23, 24 is probably good for Maxey if Harden's gone. For Embiid at 31.5, I'll go under. I mean.
Nah, take the over, bro. Nick Nurse plays his guys 48 minutes a game.
That's true. Let's go over. Yeah, that's true. Nick Nurse goes crazy. We'll go over on that.
Dude, James Harden is about to be. That's why he wants to get traded, bro. Because he saw how much Fred VanVleet played for the Raptors last year. He's like, nah, man, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm all right. I'm not trying to do all that.
So our next one comes from Kane. Austin Reeves, 13.5 points. I am smashing that over.
Yeah, I like the over on that too. I
think
they're going to feature him a lot.
I think he get closer to 20.
If I had to go with something, I would go with like 16 to 17. I think like 16.5, 17. I could say.
To rephrase that, I think he gets closer to 20 than the 13.
Yeah, I agree. I think around 16 is good. There's a lot of options on that team, which is why he probably won't get up to like a 20. But especially if like LeBron misses time, if Anthony Davis misses some time, I also just think they're going to feature him a lot more because of the leap that he took, and he can foul bait with the best of them.
I was going to say, not to mention the foul baiting. Man.
Yeah, he's going to get some free throws. So yeah, I'll go over as well.
And then we got from Austin, we got Trey Murphy. Is it 18 points? Yeah, 18 and a half points and a 40 plus 3-point percentage. I'm going to take the over on the field goal percentage, under on the points, just because we're on the Zion positivity train. So we think Zion's going to play. And when you have McCollum and Ingram on that roster as well, there's only so many buckets to go around. And I think Murphy's going to be more of like a featured player. So I think he'll probably average like 15 to 16 on 40%, which is freaking awesome. But that's what I think he's going to do this year.
Yeah, kind of similar. I just think there's too many mouths to feed on that team. You've also got Valanciunas for Trey Murphy to really find nearly 20 points per game. I think he's so good, though. I wish somehow he would get a more featured role on that team.
It's a baller starting five, though. I feel like.
Yeah. I mean,
I think better playmaking. I mean, Ingram kind of has good playmaking.
I feel like it's interesting to think about if maybe they should start Trey Murphy at the 2 over Herb Jones.
No, I agree. I think they should.
It's interesting. I think Herb Jones' defense is big for them, so I don't think they will do that. Plus, they just paid him. But I don't know how long you can keep Trey Murphy coming off the bench. Like, he is so good.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know.
He would start on like the other 29 teams.
Yeah, most of them. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go under in the points. 3-point percentage. I think it's right about 40. I'll go over. I'm a Trey Murphy believer, so let's go with that. Next, we got Jordan Poole, 23.5 points per game coming from Jay.
I'm going over.
I'm also going to go over on this one.
That boy is going to slang that thing.
Jordan Poole, that's a crazy sentence. Jordan Poole is going to he's going to chuck up shots. I mean, how much he averaged? Didn't he average?
I was going to say, how many shot attempts did he average last year? I think I actually want to look at his shot attempts. Like, I wish I want to look at
3.4 points per game this past season on a team with Steph, Clay, Wiggins. Like, he shot 15.6 attempts per game this past season.
I think that could get up to 20 this game.
Yeah, he's going to shoot nearly 20 shots a game. Yeah. Like,
I'm taking over.
I'm also going to go over for Jordan Poole on 23.5. I think he gets right around 25.
All right, and now we're left with two. One from me, one from you. And they're kind of play off each other. So mine was, and this you'll see why I confused Connor's for mine. Harden and Dame 1+ or over 0.5 games played for their current team.
I'm going over. I think Harden starts the season as a Sixer. I think Dame's gone. I don't think he plays another game for the Blazers, but I believe Harden's going to be there for at least the beginning of the year.
I agree. I'm going to take the same thing.
All right, and mine is over under 1.5 non-Dame Harden trades that include all-stars. So we're not talking about Dame and Harden, but over under 1.5 all-star caliber players get traded this offseason that aren't Dame and Harden. So guys like Siakam, Levine, DeRozan, Jarrett Allen was in some talks at one point in the offseason. Karl Anthony Towns. There were some other players that I'm now blanking on. Let me take a look at the standings to look at teams I'm forgetting. But Zion, I mean, was even in some rumors at one point in this offseason. So
my answer for this one, it should be over. But because of incompetency, I'm taking the under. I think one of like a Siakam, Towns, Levine type of trade happens.
Mm-hmm.
And just there's no way more than one front office decides to do the right thing. So I'm going under.
Damn. Yeah, I think I'm also going to go under. I think one trade does end up happening that we don't expect as much, but two feels like I think it'll happen over the course of the next calendar year, but leading into the season, I don't see it.
How long have I been blurry, bro?
Like, I think just like a couple minutes.
Oh, hold on. There we go.
Ryan's got to go like real close to the camera to unblur it.
Because I think when I lean back in my chair, I get blurry. And I was looking at our questions or are the ones that people commented. So I wasn't on my stream. So I come back, I'm like, oh, I'm blurry.
Yeah, no, I think it was only like that for about a minute, but yeah. So I think that's everything. We went through all the over-unders. Again, sorry if we didn't get to your team that they just weren't listed yet because of potential trades. We'll go ahead and talk about those. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the episode. If you're on an audio platform, if you're on YouTube, go check it out on the audio platform. Rate us 5 stars, pre-download, all that stuff. If you're here on YouTube, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, comment down below where you think your favorite team is going to finish in the standings. Who's your breakout team for this upcoming season? Any of your answers to these over-unders, we'd love to hear what y'all's takes are, as always.
Also,
like
Ryan said, if you don't agree, go for it. If you really feel in your heart that the Denver Nuggets have a good bench, let me know below, and I want to hear your rationale.
Yeah, flame Ryan for his Denver Nuggets bench take if you're feeling that way. But yeah, we'll be back again some point next week with another episode. We'll probably be back at some point by the end of this weekend.
This will be up. This should be up on Friday.
This should be up Thursday.
Oh wait, tomorrow is Thursday. Shoot.
Yeah, tomorrow's Thursday,
which
is nice. For some reason, I've been thinking it's later in the week too. This video should be up on Thursday at some point, so be on the lookout for. I was gonna say be on the lookout for that. Like you're not hearing this right now. Be on the lookout. Look out for this podcast episode coming. Be also on the lookout. Hour and a half.
You're the one of 4 people that have listened to an hour and a half long episode.
Yeah, we appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
If you made it to this point, comment down below. I made it. That feels dumb. What's something else?
That was so cringe. Dude.
That was so cringe. That was so embarrassing. I'm gonna have to quit the podcast.
Look around. I want you to look to your left, and the first thing you see is what they have to comment.
Okay, I'm gonna close my eyes. Look to the right. Look to the left. Now.
I said you're left.
It was a fan. It was a big
comment. You're a fan.
Wait, as a comment, like they are like. What? So say I'm a commenter. Do I comment I'm a fan or you're a fan? Like just plain text.
Whatever makes your heart happy.
Okay, I guess so. Yeah, I've got this like big tall tower fan right here to my left. That's the first thing I saw. The next thing I saw was a door. You said
fan, and like you could say like I'm a fan of the show. Like it could have been you could have like said like I don't know like candle, and then people would be like, why the heck are they commenting candle under this? And then someone says I'm a fan, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm also a fan.
Yeah. So if I looked to my right, I would have seen these vitamins that I have. So you messed up. You should have told me to look to the right. Now
you've got
people confused. My favorite vitamin in this one? I really like...
Not the color, bro. Like your, not like I like the purple ones. I meant like your favorite.
Well, they're the cool they're like the gummy ones. They got like cool fruit flavors.
I know, but I meant like vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin D.
I don't know what they do.
Well, pick one. I'll tell you what it does.
Vitamin D is the sun one, right?
I think so.
You think so? This is like your job. You told me you were gonna tell me.
Yeah, vitamin D is your milk and your sun. So.
Okay, I like the sun vitamin. That's the one I'm gonna go with.
Connor gets his milk confirmed.
What's your favorite vitamin?
The B vitamins, because they're what gives you energy, and that's yeah.
I have no clue what the vitamins do, so I had no information.
I used to. Now I used to know what B12 versus B6 meant. Now I don't. I'm washed.
My favorite, much more importantly, my favorite flavor of these. I like the purple ones are pretty good. They're also the orange ones, which is great because my girlfriend, for those of you out there that didn't know I have a girlfriend. I have a girlfriend. Big reveal, but she doesn't like the orange gummies. And
those are the best ones, Sophie.
That's what I'm saying. Like they're so good.
Oh my god, is she back there? Can you yell at her?
Yeah. Ryan's really mad at you that you don't like the orange gummies.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, she's very upset.
Comment Sophie's a madman if you made it to this point.
You made it to this point in the episode. But yeah, we appreciate y'all as always. We'll see y'all again for another episode next week. You'll probably see some bonus content from us coming up at some point this weekend. So be on the lookout for that. Not this episode because you've already seen an hour, 30 minutes of that. Ryan, you got anything else you want to wrap up with before we head out?
I'm tired, man. I got work in the morning. Let's wrap this baby up.
Oh yeah, let's wrap it up. We appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all later. Cone, Ryan here from the 2-Man Game. Peace.